All right, joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, former Pirate righty Charlie Hodges to talk some Pirate baseball and more. Charlie, how you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. Good to see you, Clip.
Absolutely, appreciate you joining me. Let's get a life update from you. What are you up to these days?
Yeah, I'm doing what every college baseball player does if they don't go play professionally or if they are not becoming a coach, and that's working in insurance. So, moved back to Illinois and working in insurance out of Chicago.
Good stuff. Think did I see you recently in Colorado for a Rockies game, or at least at a Rockies game with your Zach Agnos jersey on?
Yeah, yeah. So Zach came to Wrigley, so he was in Chicago. So I was like, can't pass up that opportunity. So I reached out to him, and luckily enough, got to watch him pitch on Memorial Day. So that was pretty sick.
Awesome stuff. Did you see what happened yesterday while he was in Chicago? He went and hung out with the Barstool guys and killed the
Yeah,
gauntlet that they have. That
he
was pretty
did.
cool.
He did. So I'm actually a pretty active listener of the Yak. It's on like every noon,
Yeah.
pretty much every Monday through Friday. And I was listening to it, and they said, "Yeah, we have a couple of Rockies players coming in." They didn't say any names or anything, and so I texted Zach. I'm like, "Yo, are you going to Barstool?" And didn't get a response. And like 10 minutes later, it said, "Yeah, we have a Zach and a Kyle coming in." And so I just started blowing up his phone. And that was pretty sick watching him do that. Obviously, Zach, he multi-sport athlete, killed it. No surprises there, that's for sure.
We talked about it on the show yesterday, but that gauntlet, for those that don't know, it's cornhole, soccer, baseball slash wiffle ball, football, hit a couple of threes, and then do a quiz. Charlie, what was your second best sport coming up?
Yeah, I played golf and basketball. I would definitely say my second sport was basketball in high
Okay.
school. So, yeah,
Put up some numbers?
yeah. I was a 996 career points in varsity.
Ah,
I told my coaches and my teammates afterwards. I'm like, in 20 years from now, I'm just going to start saying I had 1,000.
yeah.
So,
Round up. Yeah.
exactly.
So how did you make it to East Carolina? What's your story there?
Yeah, so I went to the JUCO route first. I was actually committed to Illinois State University my sophomore year of high school. So, because that's, 30 minutes down the road from me. So it was easy commit. Then the coaches ended up leaving, going somewhere else. So I saw that as an opportunity to go the JUCO route instead of going D1 right away, just to, get my name out there to those southern schools because you don't really get that opportunity in the middle of Illinois. So went the JUCO route, went to Parkland College, was there for my first year, had a great first year, but then COVID hit. So decided to go back for my second year. My second year had a great fall. Got in touch with quite a few Southern schools and fell in love with ECU right away. So got in touch with Coach Palumbo, and it was Coach Dietz at the time was the one that was recruiting me for the pitching side. And committed within a week of being in touch with them. I fell in love with the culture and just everything that they had going on here from a baseball side of things and a life side of things. So it was pretty easy decision for me. And then once I got there, I really didn't want to leave. I fell in love with the city and the culture, the team, just the people in the area too. So that's kind of my little summary on how I was able to get to Greenville.
Yeah, and how would you recommend the JUCO route to some kids, some families? Because it really is a good way to get your name out there. If you're not, I mean, heck, you could go from there to the pros, perhaps. But we see a lot
Yeah,
of guys that move on to D1 schools.
yeah, exactly. I actually highly recommend it, especially for kids that are just like, not getting the, publicity to those bigger schools that they may want. You may have a couple of mid majors or small D1s that you're talking to, but you don't have the amount of interest that you really want from those bigger schools. There's actually a kid from my town right now, kind of went through the same situation as I did, where it's just like we're from such a small high school that we just don't get the publicity to those bigger schools as you'd want. And so I highly recommended him to the JUCO route. He had a handful of D1 offers to, like a Murray State or, a lot of those OVC, MVC schools. But he's kind of in the same aspect of, mindset as me, where he wanted to go as big as he could somewhere south, play some good baseball. So he's actually at John A. Logan, which is one of the best junior colleges in the country. He had a great freshman year. He's going to go back for his second year, try and get some more velo under his belt so he can really showcase himself, to those bigger schools. But absolutely, the kids that are just not getting showcased to the bigger schools like they want to, JUCO route's a great opportunity for you to get immediate playing time.
And some great programs right here in our backyard with Pitt Community College, Lenore Community
Yes, sir.
College. A lot of great options for some talented baseball players. Charlie Hodges joining us. Charlie, let's talk Pirates. And man, I've talked to a lot of former players this week. I know you guys always believe. Cliff Godwin told me to my face years ago, don't bet against Cliff Godwin. So I had a little twinge of belief as well. But how about what the guys were able to accomplish in 4 games down in Clearwater to get to where they are now?
Yeah, how special was that? All it just takes is just getting hot at the right time, and fortunately, the Pirates are getting hot at the right time. But it was just so much fun to watch that team come together. Guys like Riley Johnson, who have not been able to have the year that they really wanted. Consistently on the field, just from an injury standpoint, but to get out there and just be able to produce, 4 or 5 games in a row is really cool, and it's really magical. And I mean, what better way to get into a regional than to win the tournament? That's very, very Pirate-esque right there to just grind your way through it, very blue collar. So I was just really proud of the guys and the way that they were able to just kind of put the season on the back burners and not have to, overly analyze. Maybe they didn't have the season that they wanted. It didn't roll over into the conference tournament. They were able to go in on a clean slate. So that was really, really cool to see.
I talked to Danny Beal about it and asked him, what was there ever any pressure on you guys in Clearwater? And he said one year the talk was kind of, hey, we need to win a game or two to make sure we host. But outside of that,
Mm-hmm.
you were in the tournament. So the real, I guess, stressful ball didn't start till the regional. But how about that mindset once you get into a regional? What the mindset these guys had last week, where it's kind of win or go home. How do things amp up when the games get like that?
Yeah, I mean they definitely amp up in the sense of your season's on the line, and everything that you wanted to accomplish is now in a 4 day stretch, and so there's definitely an added sense of pressure there. But in reality, you're still playing the same game, just in slightly bigger crowds and whatnot. And if anything, it elevated our games to an extent and allowed us to play a little bit more free and a little bit more fun, just because it's like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So, but yeah, we never really had that. You had to win or go home in the conference tournament. There was a couple of times I remember last year we were on that bubble of hosting or not, and we kind of thought that we had to win the tournament last year to be able to get that, hosting spot. Luckily, we fell a game short, but still got to host. But yeah, for the guys to be able to, you know, run through the tournament like that with the season on their line, that was really, really cool to see. And now going into the regional, I think they can almost play freer now, knowing that the hard part's over. They already put in the work to get into the regional. Now it's just like, hey, no one expected us to be here. Let's just go out there and give it everything that we got.
Danny, by the way, did mention Charlie Hodges as a guy that stepped up and put together a big performance in regional play. Are those the games you'll never forget? I mean, obviously playing ball as long as you did, Charlie, from little league to high school to college, you have your memories. But where do your ECU days and those big games stand out to you?
Oh yeah, I mean that Wake Forest game, to be able to get my first ever career win in a Pirate uniform against Wake Forest, where there was 4 or 5 first round draft picks. You got two first rounders going head to head, and the guy that's working in insurance ends up getting the win on the game. So that was pretty cool. Definitely something I'll always remember and cherish. I ended up having TJ from Parkland into ECU, so I didn't necessarily get to have the full career that I wanted.
Yeah.
But I was with so many guys, and I had such a great coaching staff that it was like, I wanted to be a part of a winning team more than anything, and the culture and the vibe of the team was something. It was like, I'll sacrifice a little bit of playing time to be able to be a part of something like this where we can go into Omaha. And then luckily enough, unfortunately we had a couple of injuries late in that season going down the stretch. And I magically found a cutter with about a month left that was 88 to 90 miles an hour. And Cliff and AK were like, you know what? We might be able to use that a little bit. So I was very fortunate to be able to get some key innings down the stretch. I think it was like in the last 8 games, I got an appearance in 7 of the 8. I think my shoulder's feeling it a little bit. I definitely don't have the professional pitcher arm to be able to throw for a long period of time, but that's definitely something that I'm definitely going to cherish. You know, being out there on that field in front of that crowd, it was unlike anything else. I thought that it was going to be a like you're walking on a cloud type thing, you know, where I wasn't going to be able to feel my legs, but that wasn't the case. It was just a normal game, just being out there with your boys and just trying to get the win.
That's awesome stuff. And man, that story about the cutter's pretty cool. Does that just like throw in a bullpen or something, or how do you find that? You
Yeah.
use the word magically, but how does that come about? And how much talking did you have to do to AK and
Yeah.
Cliff for you to show it off in a game?
Yeah, it was about midway through the season. I'd only had a couple appearances, and I just kind of saw the writing on the wall where it's like, if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm not going to be able to see the field. And so I just in catch play. Jaden Winter was my catch play partner that year, and I was just like, hey, I'm just gonna try and find a cutter. And every single day, I was trying a new grip. I was trying a new wrist variation, just trying to find something. And then one day, like my ball just started riding and cutting. And Jaden was like, that was really hard to catch. And I'm like, well, if it's really hard to catch, then it must be really hard to hit. And
Yeah.
it actually took me probably 3 or 4 weeks to like be able to hone it in and control it. But I remember the second or third day that I threw it, I called AK over. I was like, hey, you gotta watch this. I think I got something here. And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I have no clue how I found this. I was just messing around and it started cutting. And then we threw a couple of bullpens, and then we did some live stuff, you know, at the end of practices or something. And then they threw me into the Duke game where it was like 4-1 in the ninth inning when we were losing. And they're like, hey, go throw that cutter. Let's see if it works. And I actually had a lot of emotion that game just because it was kind of a long ride to get there. And then it was kind of smooth sailing from there on out.
Man, that's awesome. Charlie Hodges joining us today on Pirate Radio Live. It'll be East Carolina in the Conway Regional. And again, you just saw the boys get it done in Clearwater, Charlie. So, hey, why not one more magical weekend, right? What do you think about the series and the way it sets up with Florida, Coastal, and Fairfield?
Yeah, I mean, everything that you hear is Florida's the worst 2 seed. No one wants to face the 2 seed of Florida. But I mean, I kind of look around at the bracket and it's like ECU might be one of the most dangerous 3 seeds. You know, I
True.
don't think anybody is going in that regional saying, "Oh, I'm glad we got ECU as our 3 seed." So, you know, it's the regional is all about getting that first game. If you can get that first game, that's a huge punch. You know, you saw the kind of track that we had to take last year after losing that first game. It's not easy, no matter how good your team is. But I wouldn't never count this team out. You know, I think a lot of people tried to count them out before Clearwater, and now they saw how that worked out for them. So yeah, it's just really focusing in on that first game, not trying to overlook any opponent or anything like that. But it's definitely a stacked regional. I think it might be one of the best regionals and probably one of the most overlooked regionals. Coastal's been a really, really good team all season. They've played really, really well, and obviously Florida's been getting hot, you know, kind of in that second half of the season. And I think Fairfield might be one of the best 4 seeds too in the tournament. So ECU's got a they definitely have their work cut out for them, but there's nothing that I wouldn't put against this team. And you know, with Norby on the mound game one, I like our odds in that game. And then after that, it's just going to be, you know, who can hit the ball the most, and then whose bullpen is going to be the sharpest. And you could see ECU was killing the ball down in Clearwater, and their bullpen was obviously very, very sharp.
Great stuff from Charlie Hodges joining us today on Pirate Radio Live. Charlie, we'll have to do this again down the road, man. Really enjoyed the conversation. We'll wrap it up. Are you a big Chicago sports guy? Are you like Cubs? Are you Cubs or White Sox?
Yeah, so I grew up in the middle of Illinois, so I'm 3 hours from Chicago, 2.5 from St. Louis. So I'm pretty much everything St. Louis, Blues
Okay.
and Cardinals, but I am a Chicago Bears fan, so
Okay.
diehard Bears.
The Bears. No
God,
Rams. Were
Bears.
you around when they were the St. Louis Rams?
I was so young,
Yeah.
and my dad grew up a Chicago Bears fan,
Oh, gotcha.
so
10-4.
just kind of just whatever dad was, that's what I was.
Yeah. Hey, I went the same route. So there you go. Thanks, Dad, for making me a Redskins fan after their great
Yeah,
days. Man, but
right, right.
maybe we got something now with Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
Charlie, appreciate it, man. Let's do it again down the road. But thank you for joining us today, and we
yeah.
enjoyed
Thanks
it.
for having me on, Clip. Really appreciate it. Yep.